Now at noon, the winter storm arrives. West Michigan seeing a mix of snow, sleet, freezing rain, and just regular rain.
Here's a look at freezing rain coating cars in Portage right now. We expect to see more of this throughout the day. And slick roads causing problems in Metro Grand Rapids. Just minutes ago, a semi-jackknife on I-96 near the eastbound line. Thank you for joining us today on News 8 at noon. I'm Tom Hillen.
And I'm Emily Leonard. Storm Team 8 has been warning us about the system for nearly a week now, and our crews are in place to show you conditions across the area. We start with meteorologist Matt Kirkwood in the tracking center.
Yeah, Emily and Tom, we've been talking about this storm for a good solid week now. Now it's finally arrived. We're starting to see the precipitation fill in on the radar significantly, and this is probably going to be as light as it's going to be going forward over at least the next 12 hours or so. And we're going to continue with this in about another 24 hours. But here's the latest on Storm Track Live radar. And we're in that mode now where we're just kind of basically looking at the latest obs, radar trends, and the wind. Right now, you can see we're getting a little bit of a break in Grand Rapids. But as you already saw in some of those images, the earlier precipitation that moved through is already creating some issues. Let's drop to the south. This is Kalamazoo, Portage area, Paw Paw up towards Allegan. A mixture of freezing rain, some sleet in there. Further north, this is where we were expecting mostly snow. That's exactly what's happening in the Big Rapids area over towards the Hart location. This is the camera view. This is East Grand Rapids. We show you this all the time, looking over Reed's Lake, and you can see the ice accumulation already on that. This camera is not pointed to the east. This is GVSU campus. You can see how quiet the campus is. Yeah, they closed classes today. Visibility out there, lowest up where that snow is. Heavy snow being reported in Big Rapids, and everywhere else, the precipitation isn't really heavy, but again, we're talking about freezing rain and sleet. It doesn't take much of that to make the roads very, very slick. Temperatures below the freezing mark, right at the freezing mark everywhere across the viewing area, and the wind gusts now over 30 miles an hour. It's miserable to be outside at the present time. There have been no changes in terms of the times and the type of warnings out there. We still continue with an ice storm warning, Allegan over to Barry, Eaton counties to the south, around I-94 and up to the north, winter storm warnings out there. We'll break down even more specifics of that right now with Sarah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We've been waiting for this kind of freezing line to set up across West Michigan, which differentiates where we see that snow, that freezing rain or sleet, and of course that rain far down to our south. And it looks like right now it's kind of setting up right over Kent County as expected. So talking about those totals, how much can you expect? Again, Matt mentioned it doesn't take much ice to see it really have those travel impacts, and we're already seeing that out there now. As we go about the next 18 to 24 hours or so here, still expecting the highest amounts along the I-94 corridor, anywhere from about 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of ice possible. A little bit further to the north when we see that change over to sleet as well as that snow far north of I-96, anywhere from 1/10 to 1/2 of an inch of ice. But that can still have a ton of impact, especially when you compare it with the mixed precip that we're seeing. Here's kind of some of those snow totals that we're expecting: 4 to 7 inches, potentially up to 8 in some localized pockets. And then the further south you go, again, right along Kent County is when you see that division back to that rain and freezing rain. So again, it doesn't take much to cause these travel impacts. Already starting to see it stick out there now. When we typically have about 1/4 of an inch of ice or less, we already see a few power outages. It's a light ice coating, slick to walk out there, even slick to drive, especially on those untreated roads. Anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch is when we really start seeing those power outages ramp up. And of course, when we have 1/2 of an inch or more, well, that could be a little bit catastrophic at times. Widespread power outages, sometimes trees break when you have that much going on, and travel can of course be nearly impossible. Tom, we're already starting to see some of those issues on the roads here this morning or this afternoon. How is it shaping out?
Yeah, the roads are definitely getting slick out there this afternoon, and that is having an impact already on area roadways. Here we have a crash westbound I-96 near the Leonard area. That is a jackknife semi, and you can see right there they're working to pull that out and get that facing the right direction. And then also notice the other traffic out there going very slow. So if you absolutely have to leave the house today, give yourself plenty of extra time to make it to your destination on time, because conditions will only worsen as we move throughout the day. Not far from there, we also have another crash. This is along the eastbound lanes of I-96. That is at Plainfield Avenue. So these are not causing massive backups right now, but just an indication we are already working with those very slippery road conditions. Taking a look at the rest of the freeways in and around West Michigan, right now the problems that we are having are mostly isolated in the Metro Grand Rapids area. So far, we're not having too many crash reports along the lakeshore or along that I-94 corridor, but as you saw from other pictures and videos, that snow or that ice is coming down, and it's going to continue to make things slippery. So I'll have another update on the traffic front in our next half hour. Emily?
Right now, let's go live outside. News 8's David Horak continues our team coverage in Kalamazoo. David, what are conditions like there right now?
Oh, Emily, Matt said it best earlier. It is miserable. If only you could feel it, if you could step outside the studio or just outside your home for a little bit, you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, down here in Kalamazoo, if we take a look, it's basically, it looks like a rainstorm, literally, because of all the different, just all the different vehicles spewing, if they don't have any mud flaps, rain all over the northbound and southbound thoroughfares of 131. We did see MDOT making some initial passes earlier with a salt truck coming through on the northbound side. We've yet to see that on the southbound side, but again, we're just north of Stadium Drive. Speaking of which, Stadium Drive, Main Street, some of the non-highway thoroughfares going through Kalamazoo, Oshtemo Township, not bad from what we've seen so far today. So looks like a rainstorm. Any of you trying to get to your vehicles already for the first time today, you're going to probably notice a little bit of a coating of ice, as myself experienced with my car. Nick, our photographer, running the shot that you see here, his news vehicle also wrapped up in a little bit of ice. So already a little things are starting to pop up in terms of the ice itself, but the rain is just the big thing here. In fact, I just remember, you know, back in my football playing days, it's better actually to have sub-zero in snow from my experience versus 30 degrees and rain or anything that is not snow falling from the sky. So Emily and Tom, I'll send it back to you, hoping that you could switch places with us sometime today.
We've been there, David.
We've paid our dues too, yeah.
Stay dry.
Thank you, David.
Our team coverage continues in Berry County now.
Joe LaFurgie will be live in Hastings throughout the day. So, Joe, what's it looking like there?
Well, Tom, Emily, if there's one thing I've learned from my decades of experience, if you got to do a really bad weather story, try to do it from inside. And that's exactly what we're really doing here. We're in the city of Hastings. If you look at that map Storm Team 8 put out, you notice that Hastings is right in that bullseye, right in that nasty zone. As of a few minutes ago, it was just raining here, but a couple degrees drop in the temperature, and that's going to turn into ice, and that's going to be a mess. A lot of people stocking up, and we're at the Hastings Ace Hardware store in Hastings, and as you can see, this is the salt bins, and there's a few bare spots here, but the manager tells me they've got plenty in back. They've been reloading the shelves all throughout this morning. They don't see any problem. There's plenty of salt here. The one thing they have run out of is generators. They ran out yesterday. The good news is they'll have more in by tomorrow. So a lot of people heeding the warnings, getting stocked up early. They've been coming in here for the last couple of days, making sure they have all the supplies they need. We're going to be checking supplies and other conditions here in Hastings throughout the day. But right now we're live in Hastings. Joe LaFurgie, News 8.
All right, Joe. Thank you for that. We'll be checking back in. That combo of freezing rain and wind could lead to power outages. Consumers Energy tells us they are prepared.
Our crews have been staffing up. We've been restocking our trucks, making sure our trucks are ready. We're pre-staging crews in areas that we expect could be hit the hardest here in West Michigan. That includes down in the Kalamazoo area, as well as here in Grand Rapids. I want to assure all of our customers that with this weather forecast, you know, you sort of need the perfect conditions to get an ice storm. But we're going to be ready no matter what no matter what Mother Nature throws at us. We're going to be ready to restore power as quickly as possible over the next couple of days.
You can stay connected with Storm Team 8 around the clock by downloading our free weather app. We will also get another update from the tracking center in about 5 minutes. And we're seeing hundreds of schools and events closing and canceling. The full list is scrolling on the bottom of your screen. You can also see it at woodtv.com.